New Year, same old 2NL challenge. Welcome, even in 2025, firing up my first game of the year. I just had an interesting spot just before I hit the record button. I mean, it wasn't that interesting, but I opened pocket nines under the gun, a very loose aggressive player 3-bet me in the hijack and in the small blind cold 4-bet. Obviously we had a fold there, but interesting insofar that I'm wondering whether the small blind noticed that the guy was pretty aggressive, but probably not. I think I would guess at these stakes what's happening is the guy just had a big hand and cold 4-bet, but I was considering 4-betting myself there. And now look at this. We have ace king and we're getting 3-bet out of position. We could 4-bet here. He makes it quite small. I think I do want to go with a 4-bet. Let's make it 21 big blinds. And here on the left we opened king high on this board. Not much to gain. So yeah, what would I have done here if I had gotten jammed on with my ace king? This would probably have been a fold, quite frankly. And now here on this board now I have to start betting, I think. Well, actually no, I've changed my mind. It's king high, and yes, he might not protect his checking range, but yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bet 3/4. He might not have anything, but he does call. He had the 5 there, so unfortunately didn't go well for us. Here I 3-bet with king queen offsuit on the button, and yeah, so just back to the ace queen hand. When he 3-bet small from the small blind, I just don't think he has a huge hand, and that's why I decided to 4-bet there with a view to fold to a jam, because I just don't think that he would jam a lot less at 2NL. Like, not this kind of player who was rather on the tight side. So I think 4-bet fold is a good thing to do with hands like jacks, queens, and ace king. Okay, so we have another opportunity to showcase this just here. Let's just do the same spiel again. 4-betting from fairly early position with our ace king, and we get called. And when he checks now, we do have a bet. I'm going rather small with my entire range here, and we do get the fold. Pretty decent start so far. Twice we won a pot with ace king. I don't think we've won anything else yet. Ace 4 off is kind of on the loose side to open at these stakes, but when you hit 2 pair, it's not too bad. I'm gonna play a big bet strategy here, because if he has an ace, he's never folding. Okay, the 8 is not great. 5-6 gets there, ace 8 gets there, but I'm still going more for value here. Can I overbet? I'm not gonna overbet, I'm just gonna make it 11. Although I could probably have overbet. And now with the jack, this is getting a bit thinner now, but I still think he can have ace queen, ace 10, ace 9. There are still quite a few hands that he can have, and I'm going to go just over half pot, triple barreling, and he folds. So yeah, this is a bit thin. I can sometimes value on myself, but to be honest, quite rarely, and the reason being is that I just don't trust him to just check call 2 pair there. Okay, I have to pay attention now. Here we do have a 3-bet pot where we got called, and he just quickly called us there. I think I am going to go for a double barrel here with the ace coming. But now we get jammed on, so obviously we have to fold. There is not much we can do, so we'll just give it to him. I don't think that was a bluff, and I don't think this is a bluff either. When he makes it 12 there, ace-6 suited is a fold anyway. Yeah, pretty interesting so far. So yeah, the thing was when I had the ace four with a two pair there, I just don't think that he would have the discipline to check call with a set or with a better two pair. So the only thing that I'm really afraid of is if the river, which was a queen, I believe, if that just paired him up, like it gave him aces up, or if for whatever reason he called there with pocket queens so that he made a set. That's the only thing. But even then, he would probably donk bet the river if he has such a big hand there, because he would just be terrified that I would check behind with some ace king hand or so. So that's why I went for thin value there. I didn't really expect to get called a lot, but I still think that it was good to go for the thin value bet. At least it helped my red line, so not too shabby. Okay, here we are gonna tag this guy as a non-crusher because he cold called from the hijack. I'm checking my entire range as monkey in the middle here with absolutely nothing. Now we do have a gut shot, but if I bet now, I just don't think that there's too much that connects with this. And the king on the river is quite good, so definitely going for a value bet now, because someone might still call with a 9, with a jack, with a weaker king. Well, yeah, but when we get raised, that is a very different scenario. Okay, here we check. So what can he have? Queen 10, obviously, something slow played. I do not think that he has a bluff here ever, especially not for this smallish size, even though we only need to call 8 there. And here on the right, I'm also folding, and here I am also folding. We need to be disciplined and fold in these spots. Yes, he's giving us a good price, but there's probably a reason why he's giving us a good price. And he was just so passive throughout the hand. I just don't believe that he would suddenly start raising the river as a bluff after he checked the flop and checked the turn in position against two players when he had the chance to bet. So unless he overvalued something, but even then, I mean, what's he gonna overvalue there? There is nothing. Like king 10, I don't think so. So I'm almost always beat when he takes that line. So I think this was a very good fold to make there. Okay, folding 9-6 suited on the button. So my New Year's resolution is to fold more. Just to play a little bit tighter in these positions at this rake. Here ace 10 suited, just gonna call. Got an easy check call if he bets now, which he does do, and he doesn't seem to see bet a lot, so I have to be careful, but definitely have to call there once. If he bets again now, which he does, well, he doesn't size up too much. I still think I have to call here, but I'm not loving it. I expect him to have a better hand most of the time. However, I still think that I can't deviate that much. And look at this, he had ace 9 and he just got there on the river. He rivered me. He was basically dead there, so that's why you don't want to fold there. And it's quite ironic that he didn't bet the river once he had two pair. I understand that the flush got there and some sort of obscure straight got there, but this is a slam dunk triple barrel there, and I do not know why he didn't do it. Well, I mean, I do know because he was scared that I had something, but if he had done a little bit of hand reading, he would have known that. And again, he made it quite small there on the turn half pot, and that made me call. I think if he had made it bigger, I would have found an exploitative fold, but that just shows that he just doesn't make it big when he has a mediocre hand. He just plays the strength of his hand, and I am happy that I called there, even though in the end I lost the pot. Here I am going to do something. I'm gonna 3-bet king queen, and here I am going to c-bet this board, although I don't have anything, but there's too much fit or fold going on at these stakes that it's quite helpful. And we do get the 3-bet through here, and let's try a 3-bet with king jack suited on the button, opening 10-8 suited on the left table, getting 3-bet, but this is such a small 3-bet in position. I have to call it. There's just nothing else for me to do. Not an ideal flop with 10-8 really, but I am going to start betting here, and here on the right I have to fold, and we on the left we get it through. Look at this, 10 high on this board. Yeah, players do not protect their checking ranges enough, and this is quite helpful for us, even though we have now lost a few pots. But yeah, I don't think we did anything egregiously wrong, so I'm okay with how I have played so far. Here this guy is quite aggressive. I'm not gonna open 5-3 suited. It would be quite marginal, and I would open it against two really tight players in the blinds, but this was not the case. The small blind was very tight, but the big blind was quite loose and aggressive. So 5-3 suited with this rake against an aggressive player in the big blind is not the type of hand I would want to open. Right, here we have a raise to 3 from early position, and we're going to call king queen suited, and we're probably going to check fold. But he doesn't do that, so what am I going to do? I'm going to bet big now, because, as I said, they don't protect their checking ranges enough. And once again, you can see this with a big bet. Maybe even a smaller bet would have done it, but a big bet definitely ensures that unless they really trap with something, which is unlikely on the board with 2 diamonds, then I think that we can easily get away with the overbet there. 8-7, I could call, but the rake is so high, I'm just deciding to fold. I don't think it's a mistake to fold. I don't think it would be a mistake to call either. Normally, I think it's if the rake is okay, like not the 2NL style of rake, 8-7 offsuit is probably kind of break even, which means that it is even a small mistake to call there. But then again, we are the better player, hopefully, against a short stack there. So this would have made up for it, but I don't know if it would have more than just offset that disadvantage through the rake. So no point in losing much time. So just fold in that spot. Okay, we are getting 3-bet by a, well, I was gonna say an aggressive player. He's 3-bet 2 out of 7 times. I think I'm gonna give it to him. He's just making it so big. I'm okay to fold this one, even if I might get bluffed. But I'm out of position, and he made it quite big, so happy to fold. Here, ace-3 off. Definitely don't make the mistake to call. Absolutely a fold. Here on the button, I am going to 3-bet my pocket fives. I don't want to call there. Playing more aggressively, always trying to take the more aggressive route if possible. And we do get called, and on this board I'm definitely going to start with a range bet. He can still call with hands like ace jack potentially, or ace king that he didn't want to 4-bet, or if he folds a hand like that, I'm super happy because I fold 2 overs. So either way, this has gone very well. I think I'm quite pleased with my red line so far, although I haven't really seen it, but I think it must look all right. And what's going on here on the left? Are they not giving me any new tables, any new hands? This is quite bizarre. What is going on here? Well, either way, I'm going to open a new table because I think PokerStars has some sort of an issue that they're not giving me any new hands. So let's just open and see if we get a new hand there. Okay, this is a nice flop for us. I'm going to c-bet it, and we just take it down. Happy with that, even though we had the nut flush draw there. I cannot complain, because all we had was ace high after all. Pocket jacks is a 3-bet, obviously, in the small blind. Okay, jack 9 off, quite deep. I am going to call this one. If he bets, which he does, I have to fold. And look at this one here. Middle set is quite good. Out of position. I am going to c-bet this one. Actually, what am I going to do? I'm going to go with a small c-bet. I'm not really afraid of the flush. And if he has something, he will continue. But unfortunately, he does fold, even when we, or not even, but we made middle set and we didn't get any action. Sadly, but I still think the small bet there is fine. Ace king now, definitely going to 3-bet, obviously. If he 4-bets now, this is not a fold because we're quite in late positions. Yeah, so this is exactly what's happening here. I think he is quite aggressive. I am gonna stick it in against this guy here in these late positions, and he calls with the same hand. Okay, that is fine. I can live with that. Here in the limped hand, we do have a gut shot, but I'm just not gonna go. We're out of position. I'm gonna give it to him. This was a hand that I would never have played anyway. So I'm okay with that. Yeah, so with the ace-king hand, it's a bit of a shame that we got it in with ace-king versus ace-king, because all we did is pay loads of rake, but this was a different scenario to earlier when I said I would have folded ace-king. First of all, that would have been to a 5-bet jam, and here I was just 4-bet, and in the other example, the configuration was very different because I had opened an early position and I got 3-bet in the small blind when I decided to go for the 4-bet, whereas here in this case, what happened was he opened the cutoff. I 3-bet on the button, and then he 4-bet from the cutoff. So these are two late configurations, and yes, I know at these stakes it's not quite like in the nosebleeds, but it still holds true to some extent. It's still something that we can't ignore. And Ace King there was just a much better hand to go in with. Also, I went all in myself. Okay, let me concentrate now. 3-betting this hand. And here got cold called and this guy called. I'm not loving it. I'm going to just check this one. Ugh, and this guy now jams over my 3-bet. Can't do much with king queen suited, but fold. Here on the right we now do have an open ender. So if they both check to me, which they don't do, I mean, this guy now bets quite small, which I'm thinking whether I should actually raise or just call. I'm just gonna call. And look at this, we are making it, oh my goodness, look what's going on here on the left, folding king queen again. Right, so this guy is now betting small. I am going to bet quite big. Question is how big? Can he ever have the nuts? Yes, he can, but I'm still going to go quite big, and he calls with the same hand as me. Okay, well, shame that we didn't win this one, but I didn't lose it. We just paid a lot of rake again in another split pot. Okay, well, nothing big lost so far. Let's continue with a grind, and we get a walk with our 6-4 offsuit. Okay, ace king opening, obviously. I just want to tag this guy here as a Non-crusher. Okay, we are getting 3-bet, and it's a fairly big 3-bet there. So I'm just gonna call with ace king off out of position. Top pair, top kicker is a decent hand. Let's see what he does. If he bets, we do have an easy call at this stage. Could consider raising, but I don't really want to. Okay, on the right we do have top pair, but it's not a hand that we want to go too crazy with. Now we do have 2 pair, and when he checks behind there, we have a clear value bet with 2 pair and the ace as a kicker. I think I can get him to call with a weaker king or pocket queens, and yes, he does call. And here I'm not going to raise, am I? Is there any scope in raising? I could. I have top 2. If he has ace king, if he has king queen, should he ever, like, I'm losing to a set, but yes, I am going to jam this one. And he folded, and I want to see what I got called here by. This was pocket queens. So yeah, well read, and it was quite good. I think it was a mistake on his side to call my big bet here on the river, because he's essentially bluff catching after, yeah, he only filtered very little on the flop. But I'm not going to turn my 9s or 10s or 8s into a bluff there, am I? So I basically always have a king or better when I bet there, and that's why I am happy. Okay, king 9 suited is a hand that I will fold in early position just because of the rake. Same with king 7 suited. These are not hands that I would normally consider folding if I were to play 100 NL or in live poker or so, but at these stakes, these are hands that I will fold. And here we are getting raised. I'm just gonna call 7-5 suited. I'm just gonna raise against 2 players who are quite tight. Okay, with king queen at this point, I'm just gonna call. And here, definitely going for the c-bet on my backdoor flush draw and not much else. He now sizes up. I'm okay with that. I am definitely going to call again. And here I am now going to overbet this one. Now that we have picked up some more equity. And now he goes quite small on this river, which is, this is such an under-bluffed node. Big, big, small. I do think that he probably has a hand that's not a diamond, but I think at these stakes with the tight player, this is just a fold. This does become a fold, and it seems very nitty, but especially because we haven't filtered, but I don't think he would make it small here if he had a bluff. Like, he would have to be a complete bluff, and then I think he would make it bigger once the flush comes in there, repping the flush. But he wasn't repping the flush, he was repping something for value that wasn't the flush. And I don't think, I mean, can he have queen jack? I mean, obviously he can have anything, but I think I'm okay with that. Here, going to squeeze this one, even though there was a recreational player in the big blind, although his stats are not that recreationally. Right, here we are going to c-bet this one for sure with our backdoors, and we are improving our equity. Definitely going to continue barreling here. I think I can get him to fold. Well, actually I can't get him to fold much. That was my mistake there. Is there scope in jamming at this point? And I think if he doesn't have a king, I can get him to fold, and he does fold. Great. I'm not actually convinced that my play was great here. This is a hand that I would like to analyze later. I am going to mark it. I just didn't really concentrate on it. This was the guy who cold called the raise and then called my squeeze as well, so I just had the ranges wrong there. I'll have to think about it later and reconsider. This was just not a great. Okay, here I'm folding this. This is a very tight player, and yes, he might be bluffing, but I'm okay to just fold this. I only have ace high and not a lot going on in terms of backdoors. But yeah, sometimes, especially when I play more than one table and I'm doing the running commentary, I kind of get lost in a hand because I don't really think about ranges properly. Now in this one, as I said, I just kind of forgot how we got to that flop, and that is why I then triple barreled, which went okay in the end, but actually I wasn't too happy with how I played it. And speaking of not being very happy, I'm not very happy of getting called by this guy here now with my 3-bet. That said, still I'm going to c-bet, and here I'm going to just fold, and when he raises me, I have an easy fold with 7 high and no chance of anything really. So that's all fine. King Jack definitely raising and getting the folds. Pocket eights, ace 4 suited, both hands very playable. Going to raise this guy. Okay, he is quite short, which is why I can't go too big. Going 4 big blinds to isolate him. He calls, and we definitely have a mandatory c-bet if he doesn't donk. He has checked and going with a c-bet. And we get the fold, which is excellent. This guy just min raised from the button. Normally I would 3-bet in the big blind quite liberally, but with 10-5 offsuit, I didn't really want to do it. King 10 off, I've said this many times before, not a great hand to open in early position. Queen 7 suited, we can open, but it's quite marginal to be fair at this rake size. And now we're going to go for the big bet here, just hoping to fold out pretty much anything that didn't connect with this board, which is the case, so very happy about that. Yeah, so soon I'll have an announcement to make, and I'll do a pre-announcement for the announcement for the few people who are watching at this point. So I am going to move to another platform with all my play because I have started working for another platform. I work for another YouTube channel and I help them out with their videos. So I've done a few cool videos there about the best videos, not the best videos, sorry, the videos about the best places to play online poker, where you get the highest rake back, where you get the highest sign up bonuses, and so on. And they are partner with a up and coming poker room that I will be streaming for quite soon. We're just in the last bits of the negotiations there, but it's pretty much clear, so hopefully very soon I will move there. Don't worry, I'm still gonna stream quite a bit, probably even more than now, and all sorts of different stakes. I'll also add in some tournaments in case you're interested. I might even do live streaming of tournaments. That's all the plan, so I'm quite excited about that. So let's see how that goes. Okay, here is absolutely terrible flop for my pocket sevens, and this guy donks pot. This guy calls the pot-sized bet, so I'm folding, and all I want to do is just see what these guys have if it goes to showdown. So I'm gonna watch the hand and look at this. He now pots it again. I mean, he seems to have at least a big ace there. Unfortunately, we don't get to see what they have because the big blind folds. Okay, so if you have any questions here, let me know about either my play or where you can play and so on. And if you do want to watch any of the videos that I just mentioned about where to play, where the best rake structure is, where the best bonuses are, and so on, best rake back, just let me know. Just write something in the comments and I will send you the link to those. Okay, this is an interesting one. Now, I do not want to really check this, but I am going to go... Should I just jam here? Should I just jam? I'm gonna jam this. I mean, this is very unorthodox, but this guy almost never has anything when he donks there. When he just completes the small blind. And this other guy, I didn't think he was trapping there when he just limps in on the button. So I didn't want to play a small SPR pot against him by raising. I also didn't want to just check with ace-9 off. The hand doesn't play well against two players as monkey in the middle. And so the only option really was to jam there, and jamming meaning jam for him 21 big blinds. So I'm not as crazy to jam 155 big blinds. But I was almost certain that the small blind would fold, and against the big blind, not the big blind, the button, I thought that I would have a fairly good chance there either that he folds, and yes, if he calls, I'm probably an underdog, but he might have lots of pocket pairs that he calls there, and it's unlikely that he has a lot of ace-x hands that are better. Okay, so here, this is interesting now. This guy isolates. We could, of course, just call. Okay, I am actually gonna do that because I want this guy in the hand as well. I could consider I was about to 3-bet this, but then I thought I just want this guy in the hand as well. 3 ways to it, and yes, it's not amazing, but I think now I do want to start with a bet here, simply because I want to deny equity, but when all 3 of them or both of them call, now the queen comes, I am not in the greatest of shapes. And now on this river, I think we could go, but can we go for... I think I'm just gonna check this one and hope that it checks through. And when he jams now, I do think that this is an easy fold, sadly. So I could have gone for a thin value bet, like in the mindset of bet folding. Against one player I would have done it, but against two players I thought it's not ideal, because someone can still have a queen there that they didn't bet because the flush came in, although I didn't bet the turn, so maybe a queen would have bet there. And I didn't expect loads of flushes, but I definitely did expect some flushes, because the original raiser, the small blind, she check called the flop, so he could have had a flush draw there. Okay, this is not an ideal spot with middle pair. I'm going to check and let him bluff or so. I mean, this was a check for information, and he basically informed me that he doesn't have an ace, but I don't want to bet now because I don't think I can get 2 streets out of him. I'll give him the green light to bet now. And now on this river, and by the way, here on the right, ace high, I'm going to fold this. I'm just gonna check this again and see what he does. Normally I'd expect him not to bet thinly for value. And when he bets pot, I mean, yes, I didn't filter, but then again, I just don't think it would have to be a complete bluff for him to have there. When he bets pot there, I just think this is not a bluff often enough, and it probably isn't a hand that's weaker than mine. So I'm happy to just do that. Here I am going to start with a check out of position this time, and he checks as well. Okay, now that we flopped something, I am actually fine with checking once again. Otherwise I would have bet. And when he bets now, I am going to go for the call. And now when the diamond comes in, do I want to turn this into a bluff now? Can I get him to fold? I can go something like 45 and just turning it into a bluff. And we get it through because I just don't think he has a really big hand there when he bets 8 on the turn. And on the other hand, he could easily have bet with a king or a queen. And the way I played it, I mean, it's not very typical because a lot of players would see bet the flop if they had a flush draw. But when I overbet there, I think I get him to fold pretty much everything that's not a straight or better, I think. I mean, sometimes they would, well, maybe a set would, but I just didn't think he had a lot of sets, so I thought he was more like King X, Queen X, so that portion of his range was the one that I targeted. Okay, pocket fours, this is against the big blind, this is a close one. I am going to fold, and this seems super nitty, but the reason why I'm folding is, again, the rake. So normally at equilibrium this would just about be a call, but I think actually it's a mix because I don't think you'd be winning anything. I think it would have been just a... Okay, so this is interesting now. I am gonna partake in this hand just because we have two whales involved, but unfortunately there's not much in terms of a flop here for us. And I don't want to try to bluff two recreational players. So just check folding. Okay, here we're getting 3-bet by this guy. I am going to go quite big, not quite an all-in, 16 big blinds. Usually when they just min-click it like that, they don't have much, but here he seems to have had something, and he jams there. Fair enough. It was still a good attempt, I think. And this is not great against two players. We have pocket jacks, and the flop comes king, queen, deuce, but we all check, and now he bets. He bets quite big. He is not very loose. I think I have a fold, especially because I do have the other player behind, who then folded eventually as well. But I think I would have folded there even without that player, because it was a very tight player who made that bet, and he would have to have some sort of a draw or other kind of a bluff, and even draws have quite a lot of equity against me. And as I said, there is this other guy behind me. Okay, now this guy has only 3-bet once that I've seen, so I am going to call here as we are quite deep, but I'm not loving this. Okay, when he checks there, I am actually not too unhappy. And I think now I can go for some value here, because I think now he might well have tens. Okay, here I'm gonna check because I just left it too long and I want to see what he had. He had pocket nines. Okay, that's fine. And on the left table I have to give up because I left it too long. And this obviously hits his range, so we have a fold. Okay, I would obviously have called here, but once he 3-bets from the small blind, pocket nines become a fold. Ace 10 off. And here we have pocket sevens. Okay, getting 3-bet, easy fold with ace 10 off. Here I am going to now call pocket sevens in the small blind. So this guy makes it one big blind. I'm just gonna raise him here to 7 big blinds. Here I'm going to 3-bet. I haven't 3-bet a lot from the big blind, and here we're getting it through with pocket sevens. I'm pretty sure I had the best hand. And speaking of best hand, we now have pocket aces, which usually is a pretty good hand. And here we have to go with a check. Oh, and again, like with aces, kings, and queens today, all three hands I've had them once, and every single time we just lost. Not lost, sorry, we just got a walk. Or just got the blinds. Right, so I called his big bet here because I had a lot of equity. Speaking of a lot of equity, I am going to call here against this donk because we have an open ender. And when he bets so big, there's nothing I can do now. I have to fold. I would have considered bluffing there, but unfortunately this did not work out for us. This turn is not good for us either. He checks, which is good. I am going to check as well. And the river is pretty useless for us. And when he checks again there, I don't think I can really take it away from both of these players. And here we have a pretty good one. Yeah, they both had a jack. I don't think both would have folded. I'm gonna check here as monkey in the middle. Now I'm going to represent the ace because I do have the open ender still. Getting snapped there, which means that he either has a flush draw or he has an ace, and he's not gonna give up with an ace, so I have to fold. Actually, look at this, he only had king high. I could have gotten him off probably, but yeah, this did not go well for me. So again, just being a little unlucky that we don't get any action with our big hands. When I flopped the set, I just lost. And here I'm just going to check it through. I'm not even trying to win this one. When I flop the set, no action. With aces, no action. With kings, no action. With queens, the one time, no action. It's just really annoying. I still think I did alright overall. Here I'm just gonna do a one and done. Actually, now that we have this, I'm going to continue betting rather small, just because it's a good one for us, but unfortunately now we are not in a great spot. He had a jack and it would have been hard to get that one to fold unless I would have put a lot of money in there. So yeah, the left table started really well, but it hasn't been going that well for the last few minutes, unfortunately. Okay, ace king again. Opening it, 10-9 suited here. Yeah, no action with ace king. 10-9 suited, I'm just gonna 3-bet this one. Okay, ace jack off. I could 3-bet. I'm just gonna call. Ugh, what a flop. Okay, bottom pair. When this guy. Ugh, this is just not ideal. Right, so we have bottom pair, and I think he makes it half pot there. I just have to fold. This is not good. 10-9 suited again. King 8 suited, gonna fold. 10-9 suited against the player who only opens to 2 big blinds on the button is definitely a 3-bet for me in the small blind. And we get it through. Whatever happened to this table that never gave me any action, so I'll have to just leave it. Oh, pocket aces, and we're not only just getting the blinds. I mean, we might lose, but at least not everyone just simply folds. Although I expect him to fold now. Yeah. Okay, well, at least we got an extra 2.5 big blinds there. Can't complain too much. Okay, he called from the small blind. I'm gonna go with a big bet. Do have the backdoor flush draw. Do have 2 overs. One of the 10 pairs there, it's not ideal. I can still try to get him to fold. We are gonna go with a small over bet. Obviously 10 is never folding, but pretty much everything else is. And if he had a smallish pocket pair, I definitely want that one to fold. And if he does call, at least I have 6 outs there. Okay, he makes it 2.5, so that's why, this is the only reason why I call 10-8 off. He now checks to me. I am going to bet for protection. And when he calls, I am now going to check. And I hope that he checks, because then we have a good chance of winning it. If he bets, it's a bit trickier. Okay, here we can fold. I'm not going to go for thin value here. There is not a lot I can get called by, so I'm calling. We had a flush draw there and he didn't bet it. That's good. Ace 4 suited. King 9 suited. This is just too good to leave and not squeeze. It's not an amazing hand, but I just want to squeeze there. We do get a call. Okay, this is someone who double called, so there's a lot of pocket pairs in there and some ace jack, ace queen, king jack type of hands. If he has a set, he will let me know now. If he has 8s or 9s, he will probably call, but I don't think he does have that, because he would have found call much quicker. Okay, here I don't love this. I am gonna c-bet though, because I want protection if someone has overcards, but look at this, they both call, so I am pretty much done with this hand. And what's this guy doing now? Okay, this is a small bet here, but I don't think I'm ever good, and I don't want to turn it into a bluff and play for a lot of money, so I'm just going to fold. Okay, so here I still don't know what's going on. He might have lost his connection. Okay, with my pocket deuces. I want to bet for protection. He calls. It's not great for me. I'm gonna check. And am I beating anything? Am I folding out anything? That's the question. Am I folding out anything here if I go really big? This is not a good player, so I'm just gonna check. And oh my goodness, he had pocket threes. Yeah, that's maybe the one hand he would I would have gotten to fold. Okay, so now what's going on here on the left? This is a little ridiculous. Okay, finally a forced fold. I'm happy with that. And getting folds all around here, which I do not mind. Okay, here is a limper. Okay, just checking with my 5-6 suited, missing the flop completely. Okay, this guy donked now and he donked pot, which is interesting. I am going to call my open-ender. And now I did get there, however, not quite how I wanted it. Okay, I'm going to just call and oh, look at this. This is like really annoying. And I am still gonna go, am I gonna go for thin value? I am gonna go for thin value here. And he folds. A6 is a fold in the small blind. Okay, couple more minutes, couple more orbits, and then we'll look at the results. Okay, ace queen, obviously raising. Pocket eights is just a call. And not a great flop for my hand. Do I need to turn it into a bluff at this point? I am just going to check. And just gonna check again. And he did have the ace. I don't think I could have really gotten the ace off, especially not on the river, once the ace pairs there, so I'm happy with that. I could have considered turning it into a bluff on the turn. Okay, gonna go to 7 big blinds against a short stack. And we're getting cold called. So this is something that happens a lot at 2NL. Doesn't happen much with other stakes. Okay, I am going to range bet this, even though he has 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks, and so on, and he just jams now. So it's good that you let me know that you have something, because otherwise I might have tried to get you off your monster. So no harm done there. Okay, so let's make this the last orbit. Okay, this went fast here on the left, so we can concentrate on this one table now. And ace king for potentially the last hand. Let's see if we can get stacked. Well, we get it through, which is nice. Ace 10 off. Getting cold pretty much everywhere. And we have 2 overs, but not much else. Gonna check this against 3 opponents with just 2 overcards and a board that hits their ranges heavily. So just check folding. And here we are. Let's have a look. And we are actually not doing that well, but it's okay. We were at 70 big blinds. Now we finished the day at 30 big blinds. I thought actually we would be doing a little better, but I can't complain. It's positive, and I don't think I made massive mistakes, so this is quite good. Next time I'll have a look as well at the overall standing, so make sure to come back. Thank you. Bye.